Hi, this is Jack. This is going to be my bar by bar review of the S&P 500 futures contract for Friday, January 3rd, 2025. The first bar of the day is a big gap up. It's a doji bar with prominent tails, and coming into the day, we're forming a tight trading range on the daily chart, and we have a big tail on the bottom of yesterday. So I suspect that this breakout has failed and that we found buyers down here and that we're going to rally. On the hourly chart, we have a tight bear channel and we formed a minor reversal up at the end of the day yesterday, as you can see here. So for that reason, we have a breakout gap to the upside and we have follow through, but the follow through is climactic and it's a doji with prominent tails. So I suspect sellers above, buyers below, and a trading range. We're also back up into the middle of the range from the prior day. R2, good follow through, big bar. Probably going higher, maybe always in long, but we're really far away from the moving average. And so far, this isn't above average price action. We have a lot of overlap between 2 and 1. We have prominent tail here and here. And that's not ideal. Bad follow through on 3, signaling we may need to pull back. And I suspect we will. And then we get 4. Pretty climactic bar, just like 2, therefore probably buyers at the close and below this bar, probably below 1 as well. We're forming an obvious trading range, and we may be forming an expanding triangle. We have a high, a low, and I suspect we'll make a lower low or a higher high soon. We have the higher time frame moving average here, which we tested on 1 and found buyers, so maybe we'll find buyers down here. I suspect a pullback and a second leg down, so we have 4. Broke out below 1 and reversed up, finding buyers, also holding the moving average as support. Each bar that we add that goes sideways is dragging the moving average higher. Therefore, before too long, we'll have the moving average at the lows of the bars. And then we'll be able to see if the bulls will be able to make a bull channel or bull trend, or if the bears are going to be stronger and either make a trading range or a bear trend. So right now, possibly always in short, but above the moving averages, so maybe always in long. It's not clear, therefore it's a trading range, obviously. So I suspect disappointment. I suspect we go a little bit lower, but then we have 6 inside bar. This may not be strong enough to reverse this sell-off. We have 4 consecutive bars down, so likely the first reversal up will find sellers somewhere inside of the gap for another leg down, but it's a high one buy for the bulls at the bottom of a trading range above the moving averages, and those are 3 good reasons to take the stop entry long. The stop entry triggered and the entry bar is good, but this bar is pretty climactic. We have a small micro double bottom here, and then we rallied and we're closing above the bad sell signal doji bar, and I suspect we're going to go higher. Maybe we'll make a higher high and form the expanding triangle. But in any case, we're high in the range, and if you're long, I'd be quick to get out if we start to get bad follow-through, like this bar. Pause bar, we did not make a higher high. It looks like we're testing the high close here and finding sellers, but a small pullback and a rally and a doji follow-through bar, so not ideal. We may find sellers up here, and that's why we have 9. Climactic bar with a tail, I suspect buyers below, but we may need a second leg down. We covered a fair amount of distance here, but I suspect we're going to go a little bit lower, so we have 10. We're testing the lows of the range, 1 and 5, and the moving averages. Now the 20 is moved up and nearly touching the bars, so I suspect we'll find buyers at the low and below here, but we may need to go a little bit further down, so we did. We have 11 reversing up into a bull bar. It's a pretty strong reversal up, and it's a bull close, so that tells me that we have an implied 3-legged move down and a strong bull reversal up, which would be leg 1 on a smaller time frame. So it's reasonable to buy above this bar with a stop down here. But that's pretty big risk. What are the odds that we get up here before we get back down here? I'm slightly more bearish on the day because we have a lower high double top and we have lower lows. So we are channeling lower, but this could be a bull breakout with a wedge bull flag and a good buy signal bar, aiming for a test of yesterday's high or a prior day high, or at least a measured move up of this bar. So I think it's a reasonable buy, but I'd be quick to get out if it starts to fail. 12, good entry bar, but small compared to 11. So that makes me a little concerned with the bulls. We need momentum. We may go lower, but 12 tested the low close on 10 and rallied. And I think that the body and upper tail is much larger than the lower tail. So therefore, there's a lot of buying pressure inside of 12. So therefore, we'll probably go higher. Deep pullback and buyers below 12 on 13. Outside up bar, probably going higher. 3 consecutive bull bars, but an implied 2-legged move already. We're probably aiming to test the low of the bad sell signal bar on 8. And I suspect we're going to get there. But so far, it looks like we may go higher. We have a trading range, and we're right in the middle of the range, so it's tough to say what should be done here. I think, if anything, probably better to be long since we're holding at the moving averages, and we have a lot of buying pressure. But then again, it's reasonable to expect sellers up here, so I'd be quick to get out, and I would scalp. And it looks like that's what bulls are doing here. I suspect we go higher, maybe buyers below, but also this bar's high. This bar's high is 61.25, and the high close here, 61.75. So we didn't quite get there, but I suspect we will, and we may find sellers. 15, testing the high close and the highs, looks like a lower high, so we may find sellers up here or profit taking by the bulls up here. Good bar for the bulls, 5 consecutive bars up, first reversal down, likely to be minor. But then again, this is trading range, so everything is minor. And I suspect sellers up here. Inside bar, probably buyers below, but then again, top of the range, so reasonable sell. Bad entry bar for the bears, closing above the prior bar, so buyers below. I suspect we go a little bit lower, but it may be disappointing for the bears. It looks like the bulls may be stronger than the bears. And then we have 18. Testing the highs of the range, forming a tight trading range. I suspect we go a little bit higher, but probably sellers up here, disappointed with the overlap. Good follow through, but bit of a climactic bar, pulling back into the close, 19. Trying to close above the high of the range. It looks like we may have, yes, maybe by a tick. So probably going higher, but it looks like we need to pull back. And then we have a bit of a climactic bar on 20. Failing to close below the range, we have some sort of expanding triangle happening here. So we could be forming a major reversal and look to test down to the low of the range, maybe on 11, the low of 11. But we have a prominent tail, or at least a suspicious, conspicuous looking tail here on 20. So maybe a pullback and a second leg down. 21, bad follow through. If you're a bear, you might get out above that bar. I suspect we go up and test the bad sell signal bar low on 19. So therefore, it may be a reasonable buy, but bears may need a second leg down from 20. Good entry bar for the bulls. It's a high 1 buy, maybe a high 2 at a better price. So I'd be a little suspicious here, but it looks like we're going to go higher. We're testing the moving average, and we didn't even test it. We didn't even get there before we started to rally, so that's bullish. Bad for the bears. I think if we start to rally, I'm not sure if we find sellers here because I'm not sure that this bar needs a second leg down since it got bad follow through. It could be a second leg down after the disappointing sell off here. So 2 failed attempts to go lower at the moving average, and now we're channeling higher. We're probably going to break out and go higher. Channeling higher, but a bit climactic here and pulling back into the close of the bar. But I suspect we go higher. 3 consecutive bars up from the moving average after an expanding triangle. We're right back into the middle of the triangle, so a bit dangerous here. I suspect we pull back on the next bar, but a bit of a surprise, 24. Closing above the high close, I suspect we go higher. But again, getting climactic, and this is not going to be sustainable, though I suspect we do go higher. Duplicate bar, 25. Good bar for the bulls. It's a breakout above a swing high and a new high of the day. Therefore, I expect we go higher, but we have a very real risk of running into an expanding triangle top. So bulls have to be careful and be quick to get out because they run the risk of the expanding triangle playing out. But good bars for the bulls. If I were a bear, I would certainly not be shorting up here. And if anything, I'd be looking to buy a pullback. So probably going higher. Small pullback in a rally. The doji signaling we may need to pull back here, but buyers below. 27 going higher. I suspect we continue to go higher, but I also suspect that we go lower to pull back. Give me okay. So 27 probably going higher, but we need to pull back. A small bar, lots of overlap. I suspect we pull back here, but still probably a minor reversal down. Same. And then bear breakout. Here's the pullback, 30. Good bar for the bears, but weak. Small bar, tail. I suspect disappointing follow through. So we have 31. I suspect sellers above, maybe a second leg up, testing these highs, but I suspect a second leg down for 30 to come. So we tested the highs and we're pulling back. Here's 32. I suspect the breakout will be good, but probably disappointing for the bears. Good entry bar, but then disappointing. We broke out above 33. So it's a second leg down and a nested second leg down. We went down 33, up, and then down 34. So 2 legs here, inside of 2 legs here. Could be a 2-legged pullback and a bull flag and a test of this breakout point. We're not quite there, so maybe we'll get there. My EMA is telling me we may be flipping to short, but I doubt it. I suspect the follow through here is going to be disappointing, which is why we have this bar on 35. High 1 buy. I suspect we need to pull back after it triggers. I think it's good context, but I don't see us rocketing up to the top of the range. I suspect we need to pull back a little bit more. Then we have 36, probably buyers below, testing a low close, testing a low of 35, right above the moving average. We have the breakout point right here, and that's right about the price of the moving average. So maybe we'll break out and trigger the sell on 36 and find buyers down here. And it looks like that's what we did. 37 reversing up, high 2 at the moving average, maybe a high 3 wedge bull flag, testing the breakout point. Buy signal bar, but weak close and tiny little bar, tiny little body, but still good. I think the context is reasonable to take this trade. It looks like it did not trigger on the following bar, and then bad entry bar 39, but channeling higher, and small bars, so really not ideal for the bulls up here. But I suspect we go higher. I think if we pull back first, probably buyers down here. So that's why we have 40. Second entry for the bulls after this entry. I suspect we go higher. Bad entry bar, so maybe buyers below. Instead, buyers at the low. The bulls prevented the bears from breaking out below this prior bar, and that's bullish. So I suspect that we're going higher. But outside down 43, a tail, making a higher low. Testing the moving average and not quite there, so maybe we'll get there in one more bar. But bulls inside bar, testing the high close. I suspect we go higher. Probably breakout mode. Entry bar for the bulls, high 1. Not ideal, small bar, small body, but probably going higher. 46, good follow through, probably higher. Channeling higher, but bear bar and doji, we may pull back, but probably buyers below. 5 consecutive bars up from the moving average. Moving average is nicely sloped, so it's pretty good context to look to get long. And then 48, we have an obvious magnet above that drew the price up to test it. And 48 is closing far enough above this level, I suspect we go higher. We may pull back first. We have a breakout point here that should probably be tested. Hey, what the fuck? Sorry, give me 1 second. Hotkey. Okay, I had to figure out what was wrong with my hotkey. I was just using the wrong button. And now I want to change the color of this. So we have a breakout point here. We also have this breakout point. So I suspect that these breakout points are going to be tested. There's a lot of overlap up here. We do have a pretty good breakout, pullback, wedge bull flag testing this breakout point. So maybe we'll have a 2-legged move or a wedge bull flag testing this breakout point. So 48 probably going higher, but needs to pull back. Here's the pullback. Weak close, probably buyers below. Instead, buyers at the close. Channeling higher, 50. Testing the top of this bear bar, I suspect we find profit taking above. So we have 51. I suspect the sell is going to trigger. Inside bar, I still suspect it'll trigger. Maybe buyers at the close, instead sellers at the close. Buyers at yesterday's high, but not very much overlap with the prior bars here, and that's good for the bears and not very good for the bulls. So I suspect whatever rally we get to find sellers up here. Outside down 54, testing the breakout point. Reasonable to buy below this bar, expecting a two-legged move down to fail and then a rally to continue. We have a bull trend line here, and so far it's not broken. 55 bull inside bar, probably going higher, but I suspect maybe disappointing follow-through. Instead, good follow-through, 56. Channeling higher, 57, but a sign that we may have sellers up here. Channeling higher again, 58, this time 5 consecutive bars up. I still suspect sellers up here. 59, I bet the sell triggers. It does, but bad follow-through. 60, high one at the top of a range after consecutive buy climaxes, getting late in the day. This is around 2:30. So reasonable to expect a trading range to form up here. I suspect we go higher. 61, a little bit higher. Let me bring the chart down a little bit. So 61, good follow through, but small bars and looks like some sort of wedge forming. I suspect sellers up here. Surprisingly good follow through. I suspect sellers above that bar or at the close. 63, we're probably going lower, channeling lower. And then bear breakout, but not very convincing, so probably a pullback and a second leg down. Inside bar, maybe buyers below, but I expect a pullback and a second leg down. Bear breakout below the moving average, trying to flip the market to short, but testing yesterday's high and testing into the middle of this tight trading range, this triangle. So I suspect buyers down here, and that's why we have this bar. But probably sellers above. Inside bar, didn't trigger, still didn't trigger. Channeling lower, we may just go sideways here. Lots of small bars. Bad follow through, probably sellers above. Instead, sellers at the close, but buyers down here. I suspect we go a little bit lower. Sellers above, 74, 75, channeling lower, and then bear breakout 76. Probably buyers somewhere down here, probably here. I suspect we go higher, 78. Probably sellers at the close or above the bar, and then sideways. So pretty fun day, pretty interesting day. Me personally, it was quite frustrating to trade. I'm learning that, I have plenty of price action knowledge and information, and the number one problem for me is just a lack of experience and needing more practice and applying the information that I know. I clearly know plenty of price action knowledge to read the chart well and predict what will happen next, or what could happen in the next few bars, or what type of trend or trading range we're in, or where there is support and resistance, or where there is a good or bad buy signal bar, sell signal bar, or, that this is a wedge bull flag testing support and the moving average, so it's a good buy. I know all of these things. It's just a matter of applying that knowledge during the day as I'm watching the chart. It's a different challenge. It's a totally different game, in my opinion, and it's still one that I'm working on. So I know where my work lies, and I'm just going to keep grinding at it. But this is my practice. So for anyone watching, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.